Welcome to the fourth episode of the Gap Down Backer podcast. Today we're going to finish our conversation on belly. This will be belly part two. If you've not heard our first conversation on belly, go back to episode 2 for us. That's kind of where most of this gist will refer to a lot of stuff back from there. I'm not going to go over the full rules of belly again. The main thing we're going to talk today is strong side belly or belly to the tight end. But first, before we get to that, Coach Derry, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good, Coach. Just sifting our way through the pandemic. I should phrase it that way. It's just I'm not going to turn this podcast into a pandemic podcast, but
But I just hope everyone's safe, man.
Yeah.
In the midst of all of this, I hope everyone's staying safe and having some kind of normalcy. But it's crazy times we're living, and if anyone needs anything regarding a pandemic or someone to talk to, you just come follow me and you can shoot me a DM, and I'm always there for you guys. I'm sure Bandstra is that way too.
Yeah, I mean it just sucks, and like I said, we know people that have tested positive recently, and some aren't doing well. We both have family members who kind of struggle with some of the health related issues. So I mean it sucks. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I just hope everybody's safe, everybody's healthy. I think that's kind of how I end like 90% of my conversations, even with random, like even when I go to the gas station at this point, it's as I say thank you, stay safe, stay healthy. Like I mean that's because that's all you can hope for somebody right now. But let's get past the negative stuff. Let's focus on some positive. Let's try some fun. Like I said, we're both big belly guys. It's kind of staples of our offense here, and when you were at Tip. So I mean we're both very familiar with it. Last time we talked quick side belly to the weak side or split inside. Today we'll talk to the tight end. But kind of to the tight end, and really there isn't much change. Pretty much you just flip everybody's responsibilities. The only difference is now you have a tight end on the strong side. What you want to talk about kind of what the tight end rules are for that, and kind of the adjustments you make to that play side?
Yeah, I think the hard part when you come with belly to the strength side, you kind of want to get away from it if they're playing. It only time you ever want to run it to an even team is if they're actually giving you a 1 and a 7 bubble to the tight end, because that's just a huge flank, and you can run a whole lot of things. I've never been a fan running it to a 3 and a 7 side. Because that tight end is just in a kind of an awkward situation. You got a 7 technique, which is not an easy block for him. You don't really want to block down to him on the play. So we would sometimes release that tight end and block an outside linebacker. But it almost just kind of felt like a waste of a guy there, and we were just blocking it. So we tried to. We just really didn't run a ton of it. But that was just us. If he was a reader, sometimes we would just kind of make him reach the tight end, let him come out a little bit so we can get a better angle after blocking. But really, man, we really got after it when we got an 50 team that ran an under front to us, which was a 1, a 7, and an outside linebacker, and really kind of try to take away everything from buck sweep to jet sweep and trap to the strong side. And really, one thing that we did is we just duoed it. And we were all a bunch of young coaches, and I think we ran duo without knowing we were running duo. You know what I mean? Like I said, all right, well, we can do what we call a grease, and we called a tough, which was a guard center combo, and then we had what we called a tough, which is a tackle tight end combo. Now, we always told the tackle tight end combo, never, ever, ever come off that block. Because we already had a guy inserting on the Playside backer. So we never said, we just told him to just get vertical movement. The grease, and we had a grease, and then we had a backside to a 3 side. We always had double teamed on that side. And those 4 were responsible for the 1 tech, the 3 tech, and the backside backer. And that's how we were able to start really running belly successfully to the tight end side. And it kind of gave us a little bit of a breather from power. Because, again, that 7 technique complicates things. That was our way to negate a good 7 technique, is just run belly underneath of him, and just kind of double team him, because when we ran power, it just messed with the timing a little bit. It was slower, and that was a really good play. Belly. We ran jet to the tight end a lot too, so being able to run jet motion and belly underneath of it to the tight end was a game changer, especially when we got under fronts, which we got a lot.
Now, I think to me, the one thing that kind of makes it a little bit more difficult, it's a little bit longer. It almost forces you to put your Playside wing in the backfield, because you're not going to have him on the wing edge, because now you're increasing the distance of his path to lead through. And so I think the thing is, it almost forces you to go in some sort of near and far set almost.
Sure.
So your wing can just lead straight through. Because if he's at wing, it'd almost be better have him combo with the tight end and almost make it true duo. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. Is it forces you to make that adjustment at least.
Yeah. One thing that we did is we ran power to the weak side really well. So our power is obviously, from a motion standpoint, buckmo, and we would buckmo him and then just tell him to insert.
Okay.
And that helped us with the angles. Surprisingly, it wasn't incredibly hard for that guy to insert, but it was incredibly hard to insert if the tackle and the tight end did not get very good vertical push.
Yeah.
That was, and we ran into that issue where we had a little bit of a softie at tackle, and oh my gosh, they just really got in a sick tack and just brutalized him. Something we've done before is kind of sheet the split, and have the tight end be almost like 1 foot splits rather than 3, to help. But there's certain aspects of it that you can. The one thing that we kind of, and you're right. An adjustment that we did too is we would call it. You guys, we at Fairborn, we called it like your wing right and left, where that wing just kind of, instead of motion, he's right there. We would go like red. We call it Rip Ray. So really, Rip and Liz told the tight end where to go, and then Liz, we called Ray, basically, and Lynn. So Ray means that the right halfback is now off, and Lynn meant the left halfback is now in the backfield. So we would go like Rip Ray, belly right, and then we also ran a lot of power out of that formation to the weak side. So that kind of gave us some better angles. But we never wanted to motion that right wing and did a shuffle motion into it. Yeah. But I've seen teams do it, and it was freaking successful, because even though they saw it coming, not much they can do.
Well, we were able to do some of that just because of how much we do shuffle motion just in general. Yes. It helps when we run. We run enough kickouts with our wings that, we can do that. He'll lead in through belly. We can do that, and he'll, run power and have him be the kick out. To do the shuffle part, I think you have to be successful at multiple things.
Yes.
Instead of putting them in the backfield, just because, unless you just got dudes and you can just show your tendencies and just still be successful. And some teams just have those dudes. They just do. But if you don't, if you're going to run shuffle motion with it, you need to be able to have other plays that complement the shuffle motion. Otherwise, it just gives it away and kind of defeats the purpose. That's part of the reason why I like him just lining up in the backfield, that old near and far look, pretty much the old buck sweep formation, and just running in and out there, right? Because you can run belly, you can run power, you can run dive, you can run a bunch of different plays. And so I think that's kind of where it is. And I agree with you. It's better against like an under front, an odd front. We had some success this year with it against Oakwood because they wanted to take away all of our edge stuff. So we were able to run belly both sides. I think we ran it better the first year we ran the wing tee just because, I mean, belly was our play. We pretty much found it. We thought of every humanly physical way to run belly and every physically human formation that first year, and it worked. I mean, he ran for, 1,200 yards? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just essentially running belly.
He had a bad offensive line at times. That was.
Yeah. Well, I think it comes down to if you're going to run, and we'll keep talking about this, and then this will be a common theme, and you can point out position after position, and even out of this, your backside tackle is still probably one of the more important blocks. You got to cut off that backside inside linebacker. But even with that, you're tied in, and that the date of this is filming. It dropped the wing tee buck from West Aurora Day. And on one of the slides, it talks about how important the tight end is, that tight end wing side. You have to rep position-specific drills. I mean, you talk about this all the time. You do it for linebackers. You come up with creative drills to make sure it fits what you want to do with your scheme, with how much you scrape and stuff. If you're going to teach down blocks or if you're going to teach certain things, you have to rep the crap out of it. If you're going to... I mean, we don't do a lot of combo blocks, so we don't spend a lot of combo time on it. But you got to be able to, with how much, we run down, we work a lot of time on creating that wall. And we'll get to that later.
Coaches aren't ever, I think there's a lot of coaches, and this is why I love the wing tee coaches, because everyone's so creative. There is... you look at some of the drills that Kenny Simpson does on the pull and for buck, right? You look at so many things that so many people do that aren't necessarily traditional, right? I mean, so many people want to get a drill online and run that drill. And it's not that it's a bad drill, but it's not very specific. I mean, I have this instance where, and this is part of the problem for us a little bit while we struggle with cover two, is that we were focusing in on, I want to be a cover two base, but we're focusing a little bit more on cover three drops in the back pedal. And I'm like, instead of doing the China where, boom, you do back pedal, up one run underneath, then you kind of do your robber drop, and then break to the flat. Just stuff like that. But there's specific drills to do for specific things, and that's got to be your identity. And I think the one thing we did when I was at TIP is we were combo as much as we possibly can, double team as much as we possibly can, and we repped the crap out of it. And one thing our offensive coordinator, Rob Price, did, he wanted to run down. He wanted to run other things and create a wall. It wasn't an emphasis on combos. So what did he do? He spray painted the freaking grass, a straight line.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, everyone needs to be on this line. It was a silly drill, but it works because we emphasized it. We gave him a visual, and you repped it. And I think more than anything, you're 100% on the money about that is. And that's why you got to find your identity as much as you can regarding, are you a combo team or are you a down block force or wall team? And I think once you determine that, then you rep that. I mean, we double team jet a lot. A lot of people just tell them there's reach. You know what I mean? But we have very specific ways to block jet. You know what I mean? And we block it like a true outside zone. Not everyone reaches to the right, but, everyone reaches in combos to the next level. And we emphasize getting vertical push. So if you're going to be a combo team, you got to work combos all the freaking time. And you better have 2 O-line coaches because, there's different kind of combos and different angles. If you're going to be a down blocking team, you might not need as many O-line coaches. You know what I mean? You can work together with your running back coach, and then your other O-line coach can work backside. So, but I think you got to marry. Well, you can't be a down blocking team and a combo blocking team in the wing tee. I think you kind of do got to marry. I don't think it's impossible not to. I mean, I think trapping down everyone kind of down block, but for the most part, I mean, that's got to be. Down was a constraint play for us. This year was more of a play for us, so I think you got to find that happy medium and get really good at something. Because at the end of the day, 3rd and 4, you got to have a player in your call sheet that's going to get you 5-6 yards no matter what. What is that play? And that's your identity. If you can, and if that play is belly and you guys like combo blocks, or power, you like combo block, you better be masters at comboing, because teams are going to be blitzing, linebackers are going to be playing aggressive. If it's down block, you better have good angles, right? I mean, but at the end of the day, none of those work if you don't have a very good idea of who your identity is.
Exactly. And there's one thing I want to hit before we wrap this up, because like I said, I didn't want this conversation to be long, because we hit a lot of the stuff in the first podcast. When we didn't really talk about motion and how that changes stuff, and I want to kind of hit on that real quick, because we did talk the shuffle motion real quick, we kind of need to be a little bit clear on that, because typically when you can run play side and weak side shuffle motion. Okay, say you're out of the true old 2-wing, okay, red formation. All right, you can run belly either direction, does not matter, and you can shuffle motion either wing. If you go play side wing, it's a short shuffle. His responsibilities won't change. He leads through the hole. He blocks the inside linebacker. Simplistic. If you shuffle the backside backside wing, there's 2 changes that happen. Okay, your play side wing now does not insert. He is outside. Usually you're overhang. Probably, because most of us get like a 4-4. Okay, you're not blocking that overhang. Make sure he doesn't fold over inside. Okay, if it's an odd front, you might outside backer, or you might be climbing to safety, depending on how things go. And then that backside wing, who's now shuffling across, will now insert inside linebacker. I just want to make sure we're clear on that. We haven't talked too much motions yet. We'll probably get to that a little bit later. And it's probably on me for not getting some of that sooner. But I think that is one of the benefits of this offense. We talked about deception in episode 1. And the part of that deception is formations and motions. And we had 5-6 different motions this year that we could run. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes we did a little too much and got a little too confusing with it, but you live and you learn. But I think especially the shuffle motion, the jet motion, and the deep rocket motion, those 3, you can run all 3 of those with belly. The deep rocket motion, there's belly. We haven't got the belly option yet. That's later down the road. That's probably 8, 9, 10, 11, somewhere in one of those episodes. Rip and list stuff, you can fake jet off of that. Okay, and then the shuffle motion, you can just change who blocks what on it. So, any kind of final thoughts before we go? Finish up talking belly, Coach?
No, really, I can't emphasize influence enough on belly. And I think a lot of people understand that, and I think that's what a lot of teams do well. And as you run belly, it's got to, if it's a constrained play for you guys, then you guys got to really get good at running your base play so that stuff works. But other than that, man, belly I think is one of the best home run plays you can have, but it's also super consistent if you run it right. It can get you anywhere from 4 to a touchdown every single time. I'm excited about it. It's one of my favorite plays, and I enjoy talking about it.
Well, Coach, I thank you. This was another episode of the Gap Down Backer podcast. Episode 5 will be a special episode. We got the West Aurora head coach, Nate Eimer. We spent a lot of that time talking buck sweep, kind of rules, adjustments, lessons learned. He's got an interesting take on their blocking scheme. He doesn't necessarily use gap down backer. He uses a little bit of a different terminology. I think it's fantastic. I was talking to our offensive coordinator the other day about it. It's a very good episode. Stick around for episode 5. And then episode 6, I kind of want to preview that too. We'll be talking probably one of the first belly constraint plays, or I don't know, it's plays you build off belly, and that's belly sweep. So take a look at that as in the coming weeks. Coaches, thank you for listening again. And this was the Gap Down Backer podcast.